Alrighty, welcome everybody to TFT Talks Undertale. I'm your host, Chaos Mana, and here I have with me Tejan Lee.
Hello.
Wubwave.
Hello.
And special guest, Timber Puppers.
Hello.
So, Puppers, can you give a brief summary of what you do on the internets?
Sure. I have a YouTube page, and on that YouTube page, I post videos of myself with Undertale footage and me doing silly voices on top of that footage.
And recently you just did an entire live stream where you covered all of the male voices on stream?
All the male voices, and occasionally, if the mood called for it, I threw out a silly voice on the females as well.
What was the mood or the demanding chat?
It was mostly the demanding chat. I succumb to peer pressure very easily. It's quite unfortunate.
So is it generally understood in the voiceover community that Papyrus sounds like Skeletor? I think we've all agreed upon that.
I suppose. Honestly, the idea just came to me as soon as I saw him do the NYAH.
Oh, absolutely.
Game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, there you go,
I
right there.
I totally think when Toby created him, that's what it's based off of. I think everybody's on point with that voice. It's awesome.
I think it speaks to Toby's skills as a character creator that you can see the character speaking, you can see their text, and already in your mind you know how they sound. I think more than anything that just speaks to Toby's skill as a character creator.
I think that's great. Yeah. Anybody who creates good dialogue overall, if you can create a voice out of dialogue just from text, you're doing a great job. You're creating a real character there.
It also helps giving it that little sound effects when characters speak to sort of different.
Oh yeah, when the two best friends were playing through, every time the Sans was talking, they kind of laugh because it just sounds like his normal text conversation is like he's constantly laughing.
Yeah.
His voice beeps were my favorite out of anybody's, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it basically does sound like a constant little chuckle.
Agreed.
All of them seem to fit with the entire character. So to start off, Puppers, how did you get introduced to the game, or what inspired you to play it?
It's very simple. I was, just browsing Twitter, and I saw, this game, Undertale, just started popping up right and left. It wasn't just a couple of my buddies talking about it here and there. It was many of my buddies talking about it constantly. And me being the guy I am, I had to look into this, recent phenomenon and see what it was all about. And I had 5, 6, 7, 8 different friends recommend that I buy this game and give it a check out. So I, went for it. So yeah, it was basically just a whole lot of word of mouth. The best advertising of all, as they say.
Mm-hmm. It was basically thrown in your face like, hey, you should probably try this.
I wouldn't say it was thrown in my face, but it was strongly encouraged that I picked it.
Okay, yeah.
And it's always that situation when people have similar tastes start saying that they really like something. You're like, maybe.
Exactly. These were friends whose opinions I trusted. Let's just say.
I got my introduction from complete and utter strangers. So it was from, I guess, Tumblr. There was some random post, and I'm just on Tumblr in fucking October, and somebody's like, "Oh, this game is really scary. Don't view it if you don't like jump scares and stuff like that." I'm like, "What the hell is that game are they talking about?" And they sent a link to it, and it was the Steam trailer. And I'm watching this video. I'm like, "This looks like the funniest game I've ever seen. I have to play this game." And I mean, in the music in the trailer itself, kind of won me over too. I'm like, this game sounds awesome. It looks like it's kind of goofy and funny. It's cheap. I'll play it. And I did it, and I got really sad after the first hour and a half. And I'm like, I need to restart this game.
Oh, you started doing the.
Oh, you tried to traditionally play an RPG.
Me? No, I killed Toriel. I that was the thing, I was totally going I'm like, okay, I was told earlier that you don't have to kill everybody in the game. I'm like, I'll just try that. And I'm going through all the introductory bosses and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I picked up that it's the yellow. At first, before I knew about the yellow, that means you can spare them, I'm just running away. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's just what I'm supposed to do. And I'm supposed to survive at level 1 this entire game by running away or whatever. And then I was told that the yellow text is you spare them. Okay, cool. That's how you engage in these battles without killing. And then you get the fucking Toriel, tutorial. And I'm like, like maybe it's part of the story. Like, this is what everybody does. Just like, maybe it's part of the story where you have to kill her or something like that. And then I did it, and I was like, fuck. I probably could have not survived without killing her. And then I didn't play for 2 weeks, and then I restarted. Because I was
very fortunate in regards to tutorial, because I had a friend at my place at the time who was, watching me play the game, and he was backseat gaming the hell out of me, which is honestly fine, because I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. It kind of made the game flow a lot better, and I got the desired emotional outcome. Like, I knew that, you just have to continue sparing tutorial, even though the game seems to suggest that you can't do that. So I was very fortunate. I have not yet seen her death scene, and frankly, I don't want to ever.
It's very sad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's like tragic if, like, it's not like you're like, okay, you can continue the game on, like, it's in a way she's like, okay, you're strong enough to survive after me, which is like part of it. You're like, okay, I'm okay with continuing, even though you still feel bad about killing Goat Mom. It was almost like a trial, like a rite of passage. Like, so I think you're supposed to feel that way, and you continue on and you're fine. You can continue playing on the game. I felt so bad I had to restart because I'm a big pussy.
Understandable reaction.
Yeah.
No,
Goat Mom.
I was first introduced to the game by listening to the Two Best Friends podcast, and they were discussing the the good ending, quote unquote, and then without spoilers and throwing around
the good ending
words,
is a good ending.
the good ending.
Okay.
And then they were throwing around words like "go" and "login," and I was like, "What?" And then starting to watch their playthrough, I'm like, "This is just in like an 8-bit game. I don't understand." And it was a slow burn, but it got there. Yeah.
It was familiar for me because I played Earthbound for like back in the day, a long time ago. I'm like,
okay.
Cool, it's like Earthbound. And then I looked it up and like, okay, it was basically based off Earthbound.
Toby himself has said so on many occasions.
Yeah.
For me, it was the reason I also phrased it like thrown in your face is because it started out as I was seeing it literally everywhere, and
I remember on a podcast probably 2 months ago where I brought it up. You're like, "What is this game? Tejan, tell me about this game. What is this? Everybody keeps talking about this game." And then a week later, you were obsessed with it.
Well, yeah. See, I was like, I got curious about what this was, but the unfortunate part started out with a lot of the negative, the loud minority of the community that might be a little bit more brash or harsh about how they present or talk about or refer to the game. I started to get to gather a negative opinion, even though it wasn't actually based in what anything the game was about. As it continued, and it definitely wasn't disappearing, this seemed to catch on just as fast or faster than Five Nights at Freddy's had caught on at one point. So I watched the video by Video Game Donkey about it, in which he perfectly summarizes it, and even shows actually kind of a bit of spoilers, yet he mixes it around, and like he spoils a bunch without actually spoiling anything. And it definitely doesn't show anything of the good ending. So after that, I just had to try it, and then basically once I hit Puppers, the game was absolutely amazing. It was just, but it's the case where, and now I'm on the opposite side where it's the most, it's one of my favorite games ever, and I started hating it almost just because it was popular. And
it's a hard game to sell to people who don't understand it.
Yeah, that's
it's like trying to explain home stuff to people. Like, it's really, if you don't look into it at all, it's nobody really gets it, and you kind of just have to look at it yourself. And you're like, okay, this is cool. It
also doesn't help that it's not any game that's existed before, even when compared to Earthbound. It's because of its gameplay and game style. It's just an Undertale. It's a unique entity.
Well, a lot of people playing this game don't even a lot of people didn't play. Earthbound is such an old game. It's like SNES as Super Nintendo game back from the early 90s. So it's based off a game from a long time ago. So a lot of the generation never even played that just because they were after it. So it's like you're reaching for that thing. So like people don't even make that connection, and then I think that's interesting how it's still caught on. It's the same kind of gameplay mechanic, and it still works today, which is really cool.
Sort of similar, but in many ways it's nothing at all like any sort of traditional RPG. I mean, when you think of traditional RPG, you're just like, all right, gonna
kill
fight
everything.
and kill some monsters, yeah! Gonna buy all these nice weapons and kill lots of monsters, yeah! But then here's this game where it's like, oh, it's strongly recommended that you actually don't fight any monsters. Huh,
Well,
how about that?
when you start killing people, it's like, dude, you just killed that person. It's like, but I thought I was supposed to. It's a video game. It's like, no.
Yeah, the game makes you pay for it. It really makes you pay for it.
Even if it's just the small monsters, Flowey, if you like hurt people in the first dungeon and then still spare Toriel, he'll list off every single person you killed.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah.
Flowey's such a dick.
The game wants you to feel bad, and Flowey is the vehicle for doing so.
Altogether, how many times have you gone through the game yourself?
I mean, counting the stream, probably... Honestly, there were a few occasions where I started it and then didn't finish it for one reason or another. One of the reasons was I had to reformat and I forgot to carry over the file, whatever, had to start again. But like 3 times by now, I'd say. And counting, I should add, because man, I got a hankering to play that game again, as a matter of fact, right this instant.
And you haven't done a genocide run yet?
Oh god, no, never will. Never in my life
The only
will I ever muster up the courage. I am far too much of a tiny baby man to even think about hurting these characters.
That's one thing I really liked about it, though, is when you like beat it, Flowey goes, you know, I can just reset the world and you can just kill everyone and see what that's like. And it's like, I wonder what that is like.
But then when you get the true pacifist run, Flowey shows up again and he's like, just let them be. They're happy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I haven't turned on the game
like,
again since I did the true ending. Like, he's just like, if you turn it on again, like, you're taking it away from these guys. And I'm like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I guess he's telling me not to play the game anymore. Replay value killed.
Yeah.
Because
For
Flowey.
me, though, I was like, you know what, Flowey? I'm going to make them happy all over again. Deal with it.
Can you go into a pacifist run from a pacifist run, or do you have to go through all like the kind of requirements again?
I'm pretty sure. I'm honestly not sure, but I'm pretty sure the game does like a true reset.
the way it works is if you've never ever played before, you must get through. It's not going to prompt you to go to the date with Alphys until you've beaten Flowey once. Once you've beaten Flowey once, then anytime, even if you do a true reset, anytime from that point on, it will always prompt that event, and you'll be able to get the true pacifist. Even if you restart it, that's like the only thing that technically didn't change, is you'll still be able to get a true pacifist every single time. But when you have a brand new fresh file, you'll have to get one neutral ending.
I think the one thing I missed when I beat Flowey the first time, and that was nerve-wracking and exciting, and I beat him after the 4th try. I figured out his pattern and stuff like that, and like
that boss fight, man.
that was so much fucking fun. That fight, and the music, everything. I was like, I can't handle this, but I have to keep going. And he only taunted me 3 times, and I was able to kill him, so I felt proud about that. But like, when you do the pacifist run, you don't really have that kind of thing again. Like, you can't die in the final battle in the pacifist run, which is fine. You get like a whole bunch of more to the story and stuff like that. That's great. But I was missing that kind of like, I thought there was going to be something even more epic in the pacifist run. But like,
Well,
again, it was epic, but it wasn't like, I just can't die in the final battle. Like, I think that's what it was.
I think the point of that final battle, though, is it's much more about the emotion rather than the actual fighting, which I think is great, especially after the intensity of the Flowey fight, which, bold statement, I think that's actually the best boss fight in any video game I've ever played. Yeah, after that, I was like trembling, I was shaking after that fight, the adrenaline was still pumping through my system. It was like, damn, I need a drink after this fight, Christ. But then after and then during the Azrael fight, I thought I was going to be going up against something similar, which got the adrenaline flowing again right away. But then as soon as I saw that it was much more about the emotion of the fight, I was able to appreciate the genuine emotion that was coming through with Asriel's dialogue in that final fight a lot more, because I knew that nothing was on the line. So I think just because the purpose of that final fight is purely the emotion, getting to really know Asriel, what his motivations were, like I can accept the fact that it wasn't actually like a challenging fight.
Right.
So for a Genocide run, do you at least know of the Sans fight and what that entails?
Yeah, I dubbed it. I dubbed the first half of it, rather. The only reason I did it, I had people asking me to do the Sans fight Genocide run for a while after I started posting these videos, and I was like, sorry guys, and don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. And then my buddy told me, actually, there's a way to end that fight prematurely. You can just end it halfway through, and you don't have to hurt Sans. And I was like, oh, tell me more. And then he showed me the video. He showed me the sparing scene with the get dunked on, and I was like, I'm doing this scene right now. Boom, let's do it.
Yeah, that's also crazy. Quite a crazy boss fight.
That's actually the
yeah.
furthest
Really
I've gotten
intense.
in the Genocide run. Is I've gotten up to him, and
You haven't beaten him yet?
No, I didn't. I literally.
Do you want to?
I couldn't. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like that moment when you raise your knife or raise your sword, and you just don't have the strength to go through with it. And also, on top of that, it is a near impossible boss fight.
It is very difficult.
So I got to that point, got dunked on, and then left. And that's as far as I've gotten on the Genocide run. As for the actual game, I've probably gone through it 10 times at the very least, just experiencing different endings, like one when you only hurt this one. I think even the pacifist running itself, I've just enjoyed it, just the casual experience, a couple times over, even if there wasn't anything different. And the thing is, even when you're playing through the second time on the same game, it's still slightly different, even if it's still a pacifist run. The characters seem to recall you. Like, the first example I can give is Puppers is like, "Don't I know you? You look so familiar." And Toriel also somehow knows the flavor of pie that you would have chosen right from the beginning. It's little subtleties like that make the second playthrough, if you don't do a true reset, even more exciting, because it's what things Mediton offers to skip his song right from the get-go.
It's you don't want to see that again.
It's just all the things together. But when you first started, what was the first name that you chose?
Well, I just went with Timber. Just straight up. I knew it was going to be a very personal, emotional experience, so I just kind of wanted to insert myself directly into it.
I went with, I don't know. So it's basically IONNO. Because I was recording the first time I played. And I'm sitting there contemplating for about 30 seconds, and I'm looking at the camera. I'm I don't know what to name this character. I'm oh, I don't know. And I just named it. And again, you'll never see that footage because the fucking audio got unsynced and it was completely off. And it was funny. And Rhubarb was in half the video and it would have been good. Just taunting you, Chaos, but it'll never happen. But yeah, that's
honestly,
where the name came from.
Honestly, I don't know. Sounds like a name that Sans might call you just for the hell of it.
I know. I'm this is a funny name. This is supposed to be a funny game. It'll work.
Oh yeah, and I'll just do a quick aside. When I first started the game, I didn't know what to expect when I saw Sans, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on? What? Oh, it's this character,
Spooky skeleton."
You thought it was gonna be spooky.
I did. I thought
scary skeletons.
At the very least, a lot more. I don't know, of a confrontation than just shaking your hand.
So did you lose it when he farted?
I think I was just that moment in a show where the characters are standing there with their jaw open.
Was there ever a moment in the game where you just lost it laughing?
If you stand there and don't do anything during the Mediton's puzzle after the play, and he's like, well, don't you remember what happens if you step on a green square? You didn't step in any green squares. Well. Well. Like, that destroyed me.
Sunderplane.
Because I just wasn't expecting that. Was that the moment for you, Wubs?
Oh, mine was for just seeing Sunderplane for the first time, and I was like, oh my god, I love this game.
Kind of one of those moments that confirms, like, wow, the wackiness of this game just never stops. Yeah. It just doesn't stop.
What? I lose it with Lesser Dog every single time.
Oh god, that
you just pet lizard dogs. Like, he's just excited. I had a dream. My dog Rhubarb. I had a dream that I was petting Rhubarb, and his face kind of just kept pushing out. And it probably wrapped around the bed in this dream at some point. And I'm still petting him. Like, I think my arms are noodling, and I'm petting him. Like, I'm getting so excited that his neck is stretching out. And then I woke up, and he was sleeping right next to me. And then I petted him, and it didn't work. So I woke up for real. But Lesser Dog, plenty part.
I just love how it keeps building and building. Like, the net keeps growing and
goes
growing,
all the way through. Yeah.
I love the emotes that it makes. Like, it basically makes sounds that cartoon characters make when they get really excited, like the tea kettle whistling, all that stuff. Like, I got a real kick out of that.
Airplane noise, I think.
Yeah, one of them was like a jet engine starting. Just like all these tropes that you always see in cartoons.
And when the bigger one jumps out of the snowball, I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now?
A snowpuff.
Yeah.
This too is a snowpuff. Behold, a snowpuff. Gasp! A snowpuff.
Is it really a snowpuff?
Yes, it is.
What would you say, if you can choose one, is your favorite character of the game?
Oh, that's like having 20 delicious flavors of ice cream in front of me and only being able to pick one of them. Like, I can't. It's not even possible. I love them all so much. Except Jerry. Who cares?
Fuck that guy.
All the other ones. Oh, my God. Just because he's my favorite one to voice, I would have to say Sans. But, I mean, that's really all I got to go off of. They're all such wonderful, fully realized characters. It's nearly impossible to choose. I love them all so much.
My favorite. I like the two shop girls.
Oh, Caddy and Brady.
Oh, I loved them. I loved their banter. I just loved that scene entirely.
Did you get the pun from them?
Oh, God, of course.
Which pun? I forget.
Alligator, alley cat.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until after. I was like, oh!
I liked them. I liked so many of the enemies. Temmie and Bob.
Yes.
Temmie was just so adorable. Hoi! I'm Bob.
I would say Undyne is probably my favorite. Is anime real? Yes, Undyne.
Yeah, totally real.
Of course anime is real. No, when that dialogue box came up and I got the option to say anime is real versus anime is not real, I'm not even that big of a fan of anime per se. Like, I mean, I like it all right, but it's not really, like, my thing. But even I just had to go, like, dude, anime is real. Come on.
I can't lie to him.
How can I not? How can I possibly not?
Anime is like a cartoon, but with swords.
Yeah. Or with guns, or whatever the other options were.
Yeah, swords with guns.
Certainly, I got nothing against it. Just more often than not, it's just not really my deal. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I would say overall my favorite character is Sans.
Yes.
Because not only is he the practical jokester the entire time, but he's also seems to be the smartest. Like, sure, Flowey has the power of resetting, but that is a power that he possesses. Sans knows of these things, but doesn't necessarily have that, at least the resetting power himself. So he's just deducing how many times he kills you based on how you look.
Right.
And, like, it's just that such a deep character hidden behind this practical jokester that we see. Like someone that's not at the point that you reach him in the genocide run. This is a character that's fighting you because he has to, because he already, in the back of his mind, he's given up, essentially, but he's still fighting you because he's the last line of defense. Imagine if he had the level of determination that Undyne possessed. I don't think he would see the screen.
Yeah.
Just because of how initially strong he was fighting you, he's just kind of like, throwing off these attacks. It does make him tired eventually, but
Of course.
it's like, just everything about him is just why I like him so much. It's the rest of the characters are amazing too, but Sans just has that special, like, inch above the rest.
I agree. During the genocide run, doing the genocide, well, not the genocide run, but the genocide fight with Sans is what truly made me appreciate that character on a whole nother level. Like, actually seeing him, like, bearing his soul, when he starts saying things like, you can't understand how this feels. Like, I've seen this time and time again. It's worn me out. Like, I'm tired, but I have to keep doing this. Like, I have to keep fighting you. And it's like, wow, that was, like, surprisingly deep from Sans. So, yeah, it really wasn't until I did that fight that I really loved that character as much as I do now.
It's cool that it takes you even getting to that point to fully understand that character in a way, too. Like, you can't pick up these kind of parts. He's just a buffoon until you get to that scene. So it's cool that he's developed this game in this way where you really truly understand all these characters, to really get to understand them, is to kill them. That's the only way you can truly understand these characters and make them likable or hate them in one way or another. It's like you have to actually at one point attempt to kill them. So it's like, it's interesting how this game works on so many levels in that way.
And that is the one thing where I'm like, I kind of want to do a genocide run because I know that I'll get to know the characters better, but at the same time, can't. Like, it's always that exact same dilemma.
That's why you just watch those videos on YouTube.
That's also
even watching them.
That's
like,
also
I watched the I did watch the Undyne fight, but I had my buddy there again with me, and he was like, "Okay, we're gonna start watching at this point, and I'm just gonna cut the video off here." I was like, "Thanks, appreciate it." So I didn't actually see her, die.
Yeah.
But I did see her up to that fight, and that actually gave me a lot more appreciation for Undyne as well. It made me realize, like, wow, Undyne is really a badass.
She went Super Saiyan on that fight, and I was, like, completely stunned.
You were doing the fight on an actual podcast. So, like, when we podcast and we Twitch stream, so, like, sometimes to put in the video feed, he'll play a game while we talk over it. And we weren't even talking about the game, but that's what he was playing. So I'm watching him. I'm not even paying attention to the podcast anymore. I'm just watching him fight Undine nonstop. I probably watched him die probably 25 times during this hour-long podcast, and I'm like, how can you do this? How can you kill her? And I'm like talking to her in the chat. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't do this. Don't kill her. And then he kills her in the end, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. It was pretty much on point right at the end of the podcast too.
It was the last try I was doing, and the thing is, I was trying the fight for like 7 hours beforehand. Another reason I didn't want to try to grind for the Sans fight, because that had even more, like, weight behind it, and it seemed like it was going to be even more difficult to complete. So I did get through these. It's still a lot of story that they have at the end. Like, a lot of the stuff that Flowey tells you, and also calls you out for watching it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's another amazing part. Right. They know that most people don't really have the heart or want to complete the genocide run. So he certainly makes that known, that all the people just stand by and watching this happen.
Yeah. You really have to work hard to do a genocide run.
It's true grinding in the sense of you have to be standing there for long times to get the last of the characters at some points. It's a crazy fight. Like, it's such a mixed bag of feelings, because there's bits of story that Flowey tells you, that Sans tells you, and that some of the other characters tell you that you never would know otherwise. But the actual run itself is so cruel and terrible. Though, with most of the fights, what would you say is your favorite battle? Like actual combat, not necessarily with the character itself, but what was your favorite battle to play yourself?
To play? Oh, that's interesting. I mean, my favorite boss fight, just because it's such an amusing, wacky fight, is the Mad Dummy fight. But that one just had the typical battle system. As far as like the special boss fights, I think I might have to say the Muffet fight, just because I have very vivid memories of having like no healing items when I went into that fight at first, and being freaked out when I first saw the pet. The pet's chasing you and you have to keep running up to all those little spiders. It's like, ah!
Yeah, that fight.
I can't. That
was one of those fights where I just had to walk away for a bit and then come back, and I beat it in the first try when I came back. But I was like, the same thing happened in the Asgore fight. I'm like, I literally just can't sit here and keep losing at this fight any longer. I'm just going to leave. And then I come back and I beat it in the first try. And I'm like, how could I not do that before?
No matter how many times I do it, Muffet's fight, I don't understand.
I love the music.
I can't, like, it's just, there's something about the 3-track switching that has it in for me.
So that's your hardest fight?
That's the hardest. It's not, like, I still can beat it, but especially if I only have, like, the 20 health, it's very hard. I still have issues with it now.
I had the hardest time with the Metaton fight, the final one. Like, I could not figure out the fact that you had to get the audience higher to beat him. I thought you had to remove all the fans. I thought you had to get them low to beat him. So
How are you removing
I
the
thought
fans?
you were supposed to, like, fucking, like, depress him, and he's like, oh, nobody's watching this anymore. I don't want to fight anymore. Like, I thought that's how you're supposed to win for, like, the first, like, 20 times I fought him. I'm like, this isn't working. And then I okay, we're going to the opposite direction. And then I destroyed his body, and then everybody, and then the fight ended, and I'm like, thank fucking Christ.
Did any of you realize that you had to fight Asgore at the beginning?
I figured after a little bit, like I said earlier, I kept losing to him, and then I just left, and then I came back and I fought him, and then I beat him, and I'm like, okay, you were supposed to fight him, but you can still spare him in the end, and then fucking Flowey comes in and fucks everything up.
Flowey, you cheeky little fuck.
I think Flowey, though, the final fight with Flowey was definitely my favorite in the game.
Yeah. That fight is unbelievable. Just unbelievable, that fight.
Jesus, they scare the shit out of you with that thing.
And then if you die, it makes you oh, my game's gone.
Yeah.
And doesn't he also have a line that's where he just keeps reloading saves to kill you, and it's it's very meta breaking. I like it.
That's partway through the fight.
One of his attacks is straight up teleporting you using a save load, just so you can get in the way of his bullets. That fight and its mechanics is so incredible because of just the way it keeps transforming into different modes, and it's the true definition of what the other half of Undertale is, the bullet hell part of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the time I beat him, I got to the final part of it, and I thought that was the point where you don't fight him anymore, where if you just dodge long enough, he's going to give up. And I was probably just sitting there dodging for 10 minutes, and nothing happened. I'm like, okay, fuck, now I actually have to fight him. So that's when I started, attacking him. But, I sat there and dodged for, 10 minutes straight, and nothing happened.
The other really unbelievable thing about that fight for me is, you go through the game, you're pretty much used to black and white and very sparse coloration otherwise. And then suddenly, whoa, here's this 3D rendered flower monster thing. Ah! Just out of nowhere, the game just hits you with that.
Really creepypasta-esque face, morphing on the monitor as you fight him.
I have to wonder who that face belongs to. It was probably Toby.
I saw on Twitter, he posted, that face when you see the booty for some of the images.
Yeah.
He's such a jokester when it comes to that.
Yeah, totally.
When it comes to the music overall, do you have a favorite track that you like?
The self-titled track. I cannot hear it without getting a little weepy. I just can't do it.
That was a really powerful scene.
Powerful song.
Definitely.
Incredibly powerful, yeah.
I think that was...
Think of that scene and... Whew.
I think that's my favorite part of the game, is definitely like when you're going through and you're meeting everyone that you met along the way, and they're just telling you the past. That was really cool.
Pretty incredible. And then my other favorite song would be it's like a three-way tie between Undertale itself, Megalovania. I mean, how can you not love Megalovania? What an incredible song. And then I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but the song that plays when you're fighting Asriel in the True Pacifist Run. That song is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the Hopes and Dreams.
There you go, Hopes and Dreams. Thank you. Yes, amazing song.
I'm between Another Medium and the Core. Those two, because those are more background music, and especially when you're listening to the core and like the music continues into the fights. I love it when like games do that scene. Like every RPG kind of has that moment where like the background music continues into the battle parts. So I liked that part. Megalovania, just because I heard it, I've known that song for a while from Homestuck and from the videos that he did for when he did the remixes for Earthbound. So like that song always stuck with me. Like when I saw that on the track list, I hadn't even known that was going to be part of the game, and I saw that name, and I was like, holy shit, he made another version of that song, and they're all really cool. So definitely agree, that song is fucking badass.
Yeah, I didn't even know the background of that song, but I mean, what a song. It's so damn catchy and so damn epic, and it's glorious.
It's one of those songs that no matter, because you're going to probably be hearing it a lot. If you are at the point where you hear it, it doesn't make it any less awesome. Like, it's this song you can just listen to on repeat over and over. And like I saw a bit of how he created it was just kind of making noises, essentially. It's literally a product just straight out of his stream of consciousness, thrown onto I don't know, paper, I'll say, and it formed what the song is we know today. It's just like pure Toby inspired went into the creation of the song.
Spider Dance is also a good one. I'm gonna put that.
That's definitely a good one.
Yes.
I got obsessed with that. You sent me a video on Skype once, Wub, it was like an animation of that fight. And like that song, the remix of that song in that video, it was like a 1-minute video, but like I'm like, this song is awesome, and the video is awesome too. And I hadn't actually reached that point of the game yet, so I'd never even seen that scene. But then when I got to it, I got all kind of squealy.
Makes you want to dance along with the other spiders.
Yeah, pretty much.
We were talking a little bit about it before, but when it comes to the silly or fourth wall breaking moments, what would you say is your favorite time that type of thing has happened? Like,
pretty much any of the sand scenes, really, where he kind of is the one who breaks the fourth wall, because certainly like a lot of the other characters don't have that sort of like I guess the only way I can describe it is that out of game knowledge that Sans seems to have. Knowledge beyond just what the other characters have in the game. So whenever he, did it with like that, that sly wink, wink, nudge, nudge sort of delivery that Sans always does. Like, what really comes to mind is the scene where he reveals the secret passcode for his room. Just that entire sequence of dialogue to me. Like, what was it like? I am a stupid doo-doo butt or something like that.
That's like, really childish.
Oh, Sans, I love you so much.
Is Sans pranking you across time and space? I hate it when he does that.
Pretty much. And I also have the sense of humor of a 12-year-old. So all the references that Sans makes during that sequence of dialogue to, shall we say, bodily functions had me chuckling.
I like the scene with the hot dogs, where he constantly puts hot dogs in your head.
Yeah, that's
if you keep buying hot dogs. He's like, listen, I can't put any more hot dogs in your head. And he stacks
29? Now that's fine. But 30? No.
It's ridiculous.
Does it look like my arms can reach that high?
I think it's the amusing scenes, the cactus line. How do you even pronounce that word? It's like the cactus is the Sunadere of the desert or something like that. Like that was a funny line. just the lovely little banter between him and Papyrus is always amusing. The dating scene for Undine, when she fucking throws the spear at the table, like I almost lost my shit there too.
That scene is hysterically funny, just in general.
Or if you
Undine just destroys her house because she has so much passion.
Yeah, for cooking pasta.
For
The
cooking.
fucking the mouse. When
yeah.
they set the traps for the mouse, and then you could go up to the hole, and it's this little
squeak,
squeak.
squeak, squeak.
I think that's my favorite part of the whole fucking game. Actually, I take it back.
Cute.
That's my favorite part of the game.
How it gets progressively more insane. Like one day, the mouse will be able to microwave this lasagna and be able to feed itself.
Break open the
This
laser
pasta is nailed
safe.
to the table.
Laser safe encased in a magical crystal. And then, I don't know if you knew this part, but if you go back after you've beaten Azrael, all the iterations of the mouse, he's gotten the cheese.
He's finally gotten the cheese.
Yeah.
So if you look at the table, like, it'll say, like, the mouse has somehow cracked open the safe, or the mouse it seems like they attempted to use the microwave, but failed because it wasn't a real microwave. And then at the very
Attaboy,
end,
little mousey.
he just got the cheese.
I think those are
That'll
like
do, mouse.
I like
That'll do.
those like that dialogue, like the narration dialogue, even more than like a lot of the character dialogue. Like those just like descriptions of scenes, like the scene when you look in the mirror and like it says, "Despite everything, it's still just you." Like that amuses me. Like I like that kind of dialogue a lot.
Oh, that reminds
Very
me.
clever.
Oh, there's a dialogue option with Sans after if you do like a genocide run, where it's like that scene where he goes, "Hey, if you could like show yourself to my brother and it'll make him really happy." If you do a genocide run, he goes, "Hey, if you can pretend to be human a little bit more longer for my brother, that'd be great." And it's like fucking savage.
Yeah.
Well, it's brutal. Like if you ever do a genocide run, you can never have the happy ending ever again.
Yeah.
Actually, you mentioned Sans a minute ago. Now I have to revise my own answer because I just recalled the after you spare Sans and he dunks you, he says that line, "If we're really friends, you won't come back." And I never came back. I never did because Sans is truly my friend. Not actually, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like the way
friendship
that
doesn't
he
have to be
treats
flesh and blood.
Exactly. That's why I'm friends with you, Tejan. You're not flesh and blood.
He's the white homestead character that is his image.
Exactly. Oh, also with Timmy, when you send her off to Kuleg and she just leaves and her face stays, something about that is really funny to me.
I know what you're talking about. I've never actually gotten to that point, but that's really funny.
The entire Temi village. It's hard to choose which
Temmie is your favorite?
which like moment like that because of how just many different times it happens. But I think just overall the first time like replaying it and Papyrus's scenes are all slightly different, where he's like recognizes you and he's like asking Sans to confirm that, like, doesn't he look familiar? And like that banter just makes me giggle. I like the fact that they remember you but don't. Everyone except Flowey just kind of has a
there's a deja vu,
like a deja vu moment for them, and it's so great. And there's also the even sillier, like, sometimes you'll get a phone call randomly that, oh no, it's the wrong number, it's just gonna play a little medley now. One moment. When it comes to things from Undertale, you said you saw that animation that you really liked beforehand. What would you say is your favorite thing that you've seen created from the community, whether it be a video, music, what have you?
Well, as far as music, I have to give props to Rashad Eby for the incredible cover work that he's done. I listen to his Side of the Determination album like at least several times a week. I just can't get enough of those covers that he did. And then as far as the videos, I got to go with the thing that NCH Productions did of the Flowey transformation scene. Really outstanding work.
Oh, I haven't yet seen that one.
It's incredible. Watch it. It's It's so good. It's so friggin' good.
What?
I'd say like all the remixes. The thing I really love about the game is the music, and all the different remixes that fans are able to come up with is so good.
I'm gonna have to ditto him on that. Like, it's like I'll listen to my playlist of Undertale stuff all day, and whoever the dude is who did the extended mixes, I love that guy. He's fantastic because I'll just listen to like Megalovania for half hour straight. I mean, a lot of the fan art on Tumblr when it's not creepy. Like the people who expand on the story in their own way.
They've done epic scenes, like really beautiful
creating,
backgrounds and
really
like
beautiful
depictions of the characters. Epic sand. Like right now, my desktop is Sans with a very spooky looking Gaster, like charged about to fire. Like that's a really good example, and I can include that as part of it. I'll be honest, like it's really hard for me to choose because I've seen so much content. I definitely followed a lot of Richard's content as well, but I think my favorite is what gets that touch is the voice covers, especially yours, because they produce, like, everyone has their headcanon, and everyone like wants to express, you know, their own personality, their own feelings into what these characters are. But when they put passion, when they put a video behind it, because the characters don't actually have established voices, it just makes me smile when I see people, you know, doing that silly Papyrus voice. And then when I came across like a video, your first, Sans and Papyrus banter, I was like, yeah, that's what I thought it was gonna like. It's like it's that voice where you find something to describe what you always thought. Because like it was the same point you said on stream with that line with the forget about it. Well, that indicates that he would kind of have that type of dialogue, that banter already. I like it a lot more because most people just kind of do the bored chuckle voice, and I think the one that you do is adds more personality to the characters. And the same with like the Catty. I've seen a really good Catty and Bratty. The only one,
that's a good one. The
only one for me that I haven't quite found, it because of how much personality the character has, Undyne. I've had a couple close ones, but not.
They haven't matched the voice that you have in your head.
Yeah, and this is just because of my personal preference. It might be completely fine, and they're really good voice actors, but that's the only one that's, like, for me, it's a really hard character to place what she would sound like.
I have a new one to add about fan-made content. That's secondary. Is all the trolling that goes on. I remember that it was the 700 Club, which is like that Christian talk show of a parent writing in saying, "My daughter has a picture of a skeleton with a glowing eye on her phone. What should I do about this?" And it's like, it's just funny seeing how like it has spread beyond just a Steam game. You know, like that's cool.
Definitely.
To kind of bring it all together, what would you say is your favorite thing about the game itself, like about Undertale as a whole?
The overall message of it, easily, hands down. I remember Toby on Twitter saying something like, the awards and the recognition this game is getting are great, but for me the real treasure is when people say Undertale made me want to be a kinder person. Just the fact that this game has that kind of effect on people, for me, hands down, my favorite thing about Undertale.
I would say it kind of goes with the message. I'm not sure how to phrase it, but the unexpectedness of it, if that makes any sense, where it's like, yeah, it wants you to not kill anyone, it wants you to talk with your enemies, and it wants you to just sort of, I don't know how to phrase it. Come back to me.
How against the grain it is.
Exactly, that's how against the grain it is. Where it's like, yeah, don't kill anything, talk to your enemies, dodge attacks, and spare them. And it's like, that's very counterintuitive to most games of that type.
Yeah.
it doesn't make you feel like you're missing out by not grinding every room. You don't feel like you have to do this. None of the game feels like a chore.
Oh yeah, you don't
like,
have
oh,
to,
I have to do this part now to get to the good story bits.
you don't have to level up or get experience, which when you later find out love stands for level of violence, and XP is what, execution points. You're like, oh, that actually kind of makes sense when you think about it that way.
I think for me, it's the total package of it. It again, like the gameplay itself. It's how it turns a lot of things on its head with a lot of the gameplay and the dialogue. I mean, just the reflection. It makes you reflect a lot as you're playing this game. You're getting really engaged in one way, but it's also making you think about like certain things and how you play other games and what that might mean and stuff like that. Like, what are you like truly doing? Why do I go play another RPG where I do just grind and kill a bunch of monsters? Those monsters have families too. What am I doing? So it has like that truly lasting effect. And again, in the end, it's a game, so it's like it's funny that it makes you think about those kind of things, and it's funny that you can kind of translate that to real life too. So it does have a really good overall message, but it's also can have a very haunting message with people who decide to play the game the other way, because he created a game that has levels in that way. So a lot of people truly enjoy that genocide run because that's the more traditional gameplay of it. So it's cool how he really inserted all of himself into this game, all of his quirks, all of there's a lot of the creator in this game, and I think you can really tell with that. It's a real creative masterpiece in that way, and I think it has like it's hard to find like a game anywhere out there where the true creator, like, you can really get a feel for what this guy was trying to do. And when it was this guy for the longest time, I know he had like a little bit of collab help with it, but it's really cool that you get that sense that you get everything that he wanted to put into the game. You feel like he left it all out there, and I think that's really refreshing with this kind of game.
Everything I like about it can essentially be summed up by the entity of the annoying dog.
Sure.
Like, the fact that he's like brought forward this story and told like this story the first time I completed the Pacifist run, I was basically falling apart because of how much the story like resonated with me. And yet, while telling such a beautiful story, a dog walks in front of you and steals this legendary treasure and then walks through the border of the screen.
Mm-hmm. Fucking annoying dog.
It's like the balance.
Hey, you were feeling sad. Don't worry about that.
All of the things that come together with the brilliant track, the brilliant sense of humor, the story being such an emotional, both on the not lovely and great level, and then on the other side, the very spooky and like message telling level. It just comes together so perfectly, and I'm very glad that even with the people being a little bit overbearing with the actual game itself, there's so many like lovely people creating awesome stuff, enjoying the game, having a great time, and the game itself is only like 6 hours, even in the longest run.
It's interesting how you get a lot from people who were just playing this game in a bubble too. Like our friend Lozelda played this game where she she just played it recently. It's been out forever, and she's like, I know nothing about this game and I'm gonna play it, and she streamed it and stuff like that, and you're seeing like her going through the exact same things that you went through. And it's interesting how everybody kind of experiences it in the same way when they don't know about the grander thing too. It's just everybody kind of gets to the same point. It's interesting in that way. Everybody a lot of people at least reach the same they feel the same way about the same moments and stuff like that. It's interesting.
approach it not knowing what to think, and they're like, "Oh, this is pretty awesome."
I mean, enough people go through the game, you're like, that was stupid. What was that? Blah blah blah. But you know,
Well, yeah, it's a small subset of people that it's completely understandable for this game to just be not their cup of tea. But as a whole, I think it resonates with a lot of the people that play it. Like, if you even were someone that wanted to try this game, then is most likely you're going to probably end up loving it, or at least liking it enough to recommend it to someone else.
Well, that's what like Pat on Two Best Friends said, is that he was kind of in the perk of the hype kind of killed it for him, where he's like, if I found this game a year after it came out on Steam for $5 and I played it, I would be losing my mind. But the fact that there was a bunch of hype around it, so he sort of said that it sort of like not diminished the experience, but
it can kill it.
Yeah.
It really can.
Changed his expectations.
Yeah, it's the overbearingness that's just the unfortunate part with having such a dramatic like change to the community as a whole. It's something that's unavoidable, but we can definitely continue making both fun times with it, fun discussions, and then also really nice content. Like, they're still doing covers, still doing remixes, and
this game's going to be around for a while.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's like Frozen. It's not going away.
The last point I wanted to touch on, when they had the Kickstarter completed, he basically said that there was going to be something in the ways of Undertale being expanded upon. Not like some form of, like, it's been speculated, like a comic, basically something additional. Would you ever want to see an actual second game or something based in the universe at the very least? Or what are your thoughts on a sequel?
If it's made by Toby himself, I'm game. I will buy it the day it comes out, the second it comes out, and I will play the hell out of it. No question.
It would be interesting to see, like, we don't know that the world is like ours above the surface. It was very much a small section underground that we experienced in the game. If there is some sort of sequel or whatever that takes place in the above world, and to see it equally as ridiculous as below ground would be kind of interesting.
It's like, it kind of has to be a completely different story in a way, because like you get a sense that these people's story is done.
Yeah,
it's complete. It's like, it's really hard to see where they can take these characters further, so I'm a little skeptical in a way. Maybe it's like a telling of like a minor character or something like that, or like an offshoot story or something like that. Like some ways.
Story of Jerry.
Yeah,
the story of the hidden character, like the thing that he hid into the code of the game that many people have loved to theorize about.
Gaster? Is that what
Gaster.
Exactly.
Story of the mouse.
Like, well, it's that, and then like he literally changed. We were trying to show you in the stream. He changed the photograph to say something else that you find in Sans room. That seems to build a little bit more, like give you a little touch more upon the story. And I didn't think about this before, but yeah, the world might be completely different. After all, the game theorist, whatever you think of the actual theory, during that video, he showed that the overworld scene is an exact based upon what you see on that picture when you first see the sun, is the same as, I think it was the Earthbound map. Based upon where the castle was, where the ocean was. So that's definitely not what our world is. So perhaps it's a very different and strange world, and you might build upon that. If because of the way that Toby has been talking about anything concerning the sequel, if he did put out anything else, it would only be because he felt like it was actually something worth putting out. He wouldn't just make a sequel to make a sequel. He would make a game just to tell another great story.
One would hope.
Well, he definitely carries Undertale in the like he just cares that Undertale has made a difference in people's lives. He doesn't care about any of the the things that he's gotten. Like he's only selling merchandise because his fans
People
want it
ask
so
for it.
much.
Yeah.
Like he's not actually like people. He's said that businesses have contacted him, and like
He's one of those
want to
guys.
sell
He is.
stuff.
He seems like one of those characters. Like he doesn't want the fame that he didn't expect it to get like this. Like he doesn't know how to handle the fame or do anything like that. So he's keeping very, as he should, just keeping very quiet and reserved with this kind of stuff. It's
He falls back in that secret room to the persona. He was just a tiny dog barking into a text-to-speech function on the computer, and it somehow programmed a game. I don't know if you actually seen the video where in that secret room, but it's worth having a look at, because the only way to get into that room is by dodging every single one of the pacifist credits. It's that secret door in Snowden that everyone comes by.
That's right.
Yeah,
is that the only way to get in that damn room?
Yeah, that's the only way to get in. So it's the
Son of a
one
bitch.
thing that I'd actually recommend spoiling for yourself, because going through the time to try to dodge every single credits might be a little difficult. And it's not... I don't know how to say it. It's like... It's worth it, but you would still feel a little like, huh, I see what you're doing there. But overall, I love what he's done with this game and the way he's treated the people that have liked it. Like, just everything about what this game has done to like the YouTube community, just everyone as a whole. It just made everything great. For wrapping up, is there any closing thoughts you have to say about the game itself?
I love the game. I love game. Love game. Yeah.
I would say anyone who's thinking about playing it and hasn't played it yet, go in with your own expectations of what it is. Don't be like, meet. It's very good, but meet your expectations. A lot of people salty.
Just
because
clear your mind and play through the first level, and then judge it upon what you have. Like, get to the talking skeletons, and then say what you wish.
Yeah, judge it on its own merits, not what other people say. Even though what other people say is usually kind of like.
All right, that just about wraps it up. But before we go, Timber, do you have anything coming up that you'd like to announce or plug?
Nothing in specific. I'm gonna continue posting Undertale content to my YouTube, so if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, keep an eye on it, because there's gonna be more content.
We'll be sure to share that.
Sweet.
Alrighty, Tejan, are you ready?
Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of TFT Talks. This has been TFT Talks Undertale. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Twitter at the forum thread, or you can also subscribe to our gaming channel at TFT Plays. You can subscribe to us on iTunes. We put our TFT podcast and our TFT Talks and our show Making the Rounds all on iTunes. Please subscribe to us on iTunes. You can like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channels. Did I say YouTube or Twitter? I said Twitter earlier, so I'm saying YouTube now. TFT Productions and TFT Plays. There's two different channels. You subscribe to both of them. Don't worry, it's not that hard.
And
Just
then
click
as
subscribe
we slowly drag
once,
Tejan out with the
and
cane,
then twice.
we
Also,
say goodbye.
like us on Twitch. We're everywhere. God, we're like a fucking virus. We're everywhere. But thank you, Timber, for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Tim.
You're
Thanks
awesome.
for having me.
It
It was
a pleasure.
fun.
Bye.
Chaos, great job.